welcome back to another video and welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema. Today on the channel, guys, I am going to be talking about all the non-horror movies I have watched in the month of October. And I've got about 13 non-horror movies to talk about here. And I've got to say, guys, even though I've been watching mainly horror movies like this month, I thought like there's a majority of these movies, like either like a first time watch or a couple revisits that was just well worth spotlighting here on the channel. And there's some new releases here, but there's some like revisits and there's some first time watches as well. So yeah, this is going to be all the non-horror movies I have watched in the month of October. And after this video, guys, I might do episode 6 of the Unwatched Shelf series, and I might do part 2 of my October horror watches. So yeah, guys, grab yourself a cuppa, grab yourself a drink, because yeah, we'll see how we get on. But we have got 13 non-horror movies to talk about, so hopefully it feels like a movie when I do these monthly watches, but hopefully this video shouldn't be too long there. So the first film to talk about, which is non-horror related, although you might argue and say it is kind of a horror movie in some aspects, but I have gone for the first non-horror movie to talk about here in the month of October is Strange Darling. Now, this I missed last year. I know this got like massive word of mouth at the cinema and on streaming there as well. You know, it was definitely doing the rounds and, you know, making like a massive impression on a lot of people like last year. I know Jordan at Movie Worm has spoken really highly of this one, and Ash at Popcorn and Horror really enjoyed this one as well. And I thought, do you know what? It was on Sky Cinema. I was at my parents'. Let's give this one a watch. Strange Darling is about this lady, and at the start you find that she's running away from this guy he's a little bit on the unhinged side of this, and you find out why this guy is trying to hunt her down, and the film kind of just flips it on its head. It kind of tells you a different side of the movie to the movie you originally knew it as to begin with. But what else I really kind of admired, that this film did something a little bit of an original on like a serial killer subgenre, was it did it in reverse order. And what I mean by that is it did it within like chapters, and then one chapter, it could be chapter 4 to chapter 2, for instance, just for an example there. And yeah, I just thought this was a really interesting film. I didn't love it as much as many other people did in that respect, but I still took a lot away from it. I thought the main 2 leads were fantastic, bouncing off each other, obviously for like different reasons, but also the way the film was choreographed and in that, you know, like reversed order was kind of an original, fresh take on this serial killer subgenre. But also like the colour grading, the lighting was really pin sharp to this one as well, and the music just amplifies the the sort of the tension factor that this film has going for it. So yeah, I thought Strange Darling was a really good film, very interesting. Not in a mad hurry to go back and rewatch this one, admittedly, but I thought it was a really enjoyable film all the same. Strange Darling, I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10 there. Had some like kind of John Wick esque like layers. Won't talk about this film for too long, because I did talk about this film in a lot more in-depth in apologies about the sun there, guys, very sunny here today in Blythe, but I did talk about this one in my Unwatched Shelf series at the start of the month. and a few people voted for me to watch this one, and that is Seven Psychopaths. So I really had a great time with this one, guys. This similar aesthetic to like one of Tarantino's films. You know, you're kind of focusing on one character's individual profile to the next, hence the title there, seven, like obviously Seven Psychopaths, but you're actually focusing on this sort of like number of characters. It was a really interesting film. I thought Colin Farrell probably stole the show for me, but I thought Woody Harrelson was a great addition to this story, and you kind of learn to why they're rivaling off each other. But then you've got Sam Rockwell, who is just, you know, like breaking the rules. He's kind of just doesn't give a flying shite what he's doing, because he wants to give his friend some inspiration, who's this like screenwriter played by Colin Farrell there. And I just thought this was a really interesting, I just liked the whole like sort of Arizona's set into this one as well, if you like. And you've got a really cool final showdown that kind of segues itself to kind of a an epilogue as well. So really enjoyed this one, guys, and I thought all the cast and crew were absolutely firing all cylinders in there. Christopher Walken, probably again one of my favourite characters to this film as well, and I just thought it was brilliantly again directed by Martin McDonagh, who has made two other incredible films, Three Billboards and The Banshees of Inisherin, not forgetting In Bruges, which is really good as well. So Seven Psychopaths, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10. And the next film, holy fuck, the next film. Paul Thomas Anderson, what a man. One battle after another. I went to go and see this one at the Market Pavilion, and oh my god, guys, this film took my breath away. It blew me away. Sinners has now been taken off the #1 spot. That is still in my top 3 of the year as it stands, but this now takes the cake for my #1 of the year. The only film has got a fighting chance of taking that off the #1 spot, I would say, is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, but I can't see this film now, sort of getting relegated from this #1 spot anytime soon. Wow, guys, this was fucking fantastic. I absolutely loved this movie. I was glued to the screen from minute 1 to the very last seconds there. This was a fantastic time at the cinema, and it was just meant to be for this sort of movie being seen on the big screen as well. Paul Thomas Anderson is now in my top 10 directors. It's because of movies like this that this man is one of the best directors still to this day working in Hollywood. This was absolutely fascinating to watch. You know, you learn kind of about this group of this group of people who do all these activities. They go to certain locations, they do these activities that kind of puts their name on the map, probably for one reason to the next. But you've also got a really interesting family dynamic to this, with Leo in there, who is absolutely incredible as ever. The main leading actress was a great supporting character to the story. Sean Penn probably gave one of his best career performances in this film, and he's just a great actor anyway, but as Leo is and everyone else in this movie. I will say to you guys, if you haven't seen a single trailer to this one, go into this film completely blind with this one. It's probably the best way. I just thought the pacing, you know, the editing and the techniques here was really bang on. The acting was just stellar. You know, like as soon as you see, you know, powerhouse actors like Leo, Sean Penn on screen, you know that they're gonna absolutely deliver on on all areas, and they absolutely do yet again here with this film. But yeah, and it was so interesting, like, seeing this film, like, fast forward 16 years after kind of that event at the first half of the film. You kind of see one character is kind of distant from another, and you learn kind of why, but you also get a bit of a reoccurrence with this. You get a bit of a returning theme here to how that sort of unfolds in the first half, if you like, and you see that very much kind of that same or similar theme return in the second half of the film. But I just absolutely loved this film, guys. The cinematography, the way the music just blends and it flows together, you know, like different kind of music that's meshed together. I just thought that was handled really well here. And yeah, the final act as well, you know, focusing, you know, like it's kind of on that desert as well, was just a perfect setting choice to that. One battle after another, I'm gonna give a 9.5 out of 10, guys. I thought this film was absolutely incredible, and it just might be a day one purchase for me when that 4K comes to town there. What a fantastic film. Loved it. Absolutely loved it, mate. Carrie Brown, and yep, really enjoyed this one as well, guys. Not as much as Get Carter or The Italian Job, both with Michael Caine, but this was still a pretty good film there. Just a, you know, like a really gripping sort of little like British gem there. Michael Caine, who plays like this, settling down in this, you know, like this council estate in London. He's spending quality time with his close friend, I think called Jack, played by David Bradley. And then he learns that how one of his close friends has been mistreated, and he finds that society is just going up against him no matter where he goes on a daily routine. You know, like his whereabouts, something just seems to haunting him here and there wherever this man goes, when he's just trying to settle down and have a quiet life. But then, yeah, and then you find there's a turning point. There's a bit of a shift in tone, a bit of a change in direction with Harry's character, and my goodness, what a complete 180. And yep, went into a bit more in depth with this one in my Unwatched Shelf series, but this was a pretty good film. There is one shock horror scene in there involving Jack O'Connell's character. But yeah, if you like your British crime movies like this, I would give this one a watch. It is an awesome 90-minute kind of British crime flick there, and Michael Caine just absolutely excels as ever, and yet again here in the leading role. So Harry Brown, I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10 there. Then, guys, like One Battle After Another, one of the best movies of the year, and I really, really enjoyed this. My very good friend Mike, did you see that? Did an amazing review of this one. I think Lisa loves Jimmy, Scottish Geek guy. They did reviews of this film on their channels, and they really, really enjoyed it. And I thought, after great word of mouth, I thought I would go and see this film, and that is I Swear. And this did not disappoint, guys. This was a beautiful, excellent biopic of John Davidson here. I thought this was really good. The main guy who played John Davidson did a great job in this. I thought he was fantastic in the leading role. You had great supporting characters. That main lady who played that guy's mum in the film, she was a great supporting character. You had the same lady from Trainspotting who I think played Spud's love interest in Trainspotting. She was in there. And Peter Mullen was excellent. I love Peter Mullen, guys. He is just a great actor. I would love to see more movies with this guy in, because he's a great actor as Peter Mullen. And it was just such a beautiful movie to watch. You know, I think it's a very important film as well. You know, dealing with a film that's dealing with Tourette's, and it's just shows how, for John Davidson, how at the, you know, like when he discovers he has Tourette's, how, you know, this is a completely kind of new experience, how he's kind of taken this all in, and how you see that render on as years down the line. And then you find, you know, he's still in Scotland and he's still out working, and he's also been a source of inspiration and to, you know, really giving people, you know, his backstory and, you know, and talking about life and how it is for him with Tourette's as well. It is just a beautiful movie, guys. There was some scenes as well that really cracked me up as well. There was some comical, humorous scenes in there. There was some quite emotional beats to this one, but there was some kind of light-hearted moments in this film as well. But I thought the soundtrack was pretty good, and when you get to that ending, you learn how sort of technology has come a long way, and you learn kind of how this is a thing that's gonna go forward. It is just, yeah, really good film, this one, guys. I swear. Again, saw this one at the Market Pavilion in Blythe. I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10 there. Next up, I had a cinema trip with my very good friend Si at Tyneside Cinema to see his favourite film of all time, The Sting. Now, and Sting wasn't starring in this one, guys. He's obviously starred in Quadrophenia, and this was obviously The Sting before Sting and the Police. See what I did there? That was such a terrible joke, lol. But, so when I first watched The Sting, I liked it. I thought it was quite good, a little bit boring in places, but that was about 3.5 years ago, and then I returned to it about 3.5 years later. Obviously, come on, Sam, away. But this just goes to show why, guys, it's important sometimes to give movies a second chance, a second viewing, because, my goodness, this film was so much better on rewatch for me. I had a much better time with this one on second time around. There was no wasps or bees in this film to my knowledge, or Sting with the Police, but this was before Sting and the Police. But this was a really good, fantastic film from the 70s, and I can see why Si holds this in such high regards, because, yeah, Si, you are a man of great film taste, my friend, because this is, yeah, a great film. I had such a great time with this on second viewing. Robert Redford and Paul Newman, who are just dynamite together. They are their own dynamic duo in this film. Robert Shaw is in there as well. I believe you got James Earl Jones' son in there as well, who made an appearance in this. And yeah, this was really good, about two conmen who work together in this sort of ultimate, you know, like scheme, this like obviously money caper in order to, you know, seek revenge after this brutal murder that has just come out of nowhere. These two conmen work together in order to you know, like, come up with a drastic plan, a like money scheme in vengeance of their friends, and they, you know, like to like give this crime mob boss a piece of their minds, and that's exactly what they do, and the film just unfolds as it goes along, and I really enjoyed that, guys. The whole sort of I loved the scenes on the train. I've just enjoyed the whole, like, sort of the casino side of the movie where they're playing cards with cards and that, and you can see sort of like from one character's perspective to the next, where they're kind of each focusing on their own cards, playing this game, and you can see that there is going to be a bit of a trick up their sleeve, like one character to the next who's got this sort of mastermind sort of plan there to plot revenge against this crime mob boss, and it was just, yeah, really interesting. And yeah, I thought again that there was such great sort of like layers to this one. There was one cracking scene actually with Paul Newman, who is just Robert Redford, who is like running along again by this train station, running along against like this group of people, and then he just basically, I think, yeah, just then jumps away from this platform, and in order to, like, basically just, he's been sussed out, he's been found out, and then, yeah, basically he is just, like, running for as his life depends on it. And yeah, I just thought this was a really cool film, guys. That iconic score as well, which is a beautiful piece of music that really carries this movie and does it justice. And I just love the whole storyboard sort of like layout to it as well, and done in this very vintage style to give you that sort of 1930s vintage aesthetic here. But yeah, really enjoyed this one, guys. Powerhouse acting all the merry way here from both Robert Redford and Paul Newman, who absolutely deliver on their dialogue, their scripts, and their screen presence, all meshed together to give them 110% in total to everything that this movie has to offer here. So yeah, The Sting, I originally gave this like a 7 out of 10, but woof, I'm now going to give this an 8.5 out of 10, guys. And no doubt in my mind, on subsequent viewings, the score will bump up in that estimate there. So yeah, that's The Sting there. Another new release to talk about, and again, I saw this one at the Market Pavilion in Blythe. Absolutely fantastic new cinema in Blythe. If you are in the Northumberland area, guys, the Northumbria area, I would recommend this new cinema in Blythe, like in 3 screens, and just a great new cinema that's got great deals on, you know, like a great cafe as well. Absolutely love the place. It's gorgeous. And yeah, I went along to go and see the film Good Fortune. I went through a phase earlier in the year where I was watching nothing but American comedy films, and yeah, I had a great time with a lot of these American comedies, whether that's revisits or first time watches, and I thought this just kind of fit into that bracket there of kind of a reminder of, oh yeah, I had a really great American comedy kick. And again, a lot of those American comedies I do plan on revisiting again in the future, and some of which I do need to check out for the first time as well. So this film was a good reminder of that. And yeah, Good Fortune, pretty good, no pun intended. I quite enjoyed this one. Keanu Reeves plays this angel, I think it's Gabriel, where he's basically having to look out for these drivers who are texting, and in order to, like, you know, rescue them, he then mainly focuses on this guy who kind of works in his warehouse, Seth Rogen's character, who's self-employed. These two guys meet and clash one day, and you kind of get a picture of what it's like if they were to swap lives. And it's really interesting, but then you see how that does affect one character to another, but also how it does affect Keanu Reeves as this angel as well. And yeah, I quite enjoyed this one, guys. It wasn't kind of laugh out loud funny, if you like, but I think the film did still a decent job with its story, and also it had you know, some comedic moments here and there that I did have the odd chuckle here and there. But yeah, I thought it's definitely, again, one of the better American comedy movies we've had in recent years. But I thought, again, this was a decent story as well. Good, like, love interest to this one as well, with the other main guy and, like, his girlfriend in the movie. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that aspect of the film as well. And how this film just keeps flipping on its head constantly. I enjoyed all those aspects about this movie. Not gonna be a rewatchable movie, admittedly, but still decent. Keanu Reeves, man, probably my favourite part of the film. And yeah, I just love, like, kind of his fixation with KFC, which did make me want to go to KFC after watching this film. So yeah, good fortune. I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 there. Decent time. Went to Tyneside Cinema to go and see, and this was a first time watch for me, Soylent Green, part of the futuristic sort of trilogy with it's the Omega Man and the original Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston. So the kind of that Charlton Heston sort of dystopian futuristic trilogy there. Of course, the original Planet of the Apes is absolutely heads and shoulders above in quality compared to both of those films, in my opinion. However, the Omega Man, I did quite enjoy. It was a bit boring at times, but still enough there to keep that film going. And this was pretty good as well, Soylent Green. I didn't get around to watching Soylent Red or Soylent Blue, apologies guys, but I did get to see Soylent Green. And yeah, this was again quite similar to how I felt about the original The Omega Man, but kind of like that remake of The Last Man on Earth, is it? With Vincent Price, which I do need to see. But yeah, this was decent, guys. I thought, again, Charlie did a pretty good job in this film as well. And, you know, like, rest assured, this film wasn't how this film represent itself into the setting of 2022, so it wasn't like this in 2022, of course, you know, like, so obviously this film has, you know, like, but again, this is a fictional sort of movie anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. But this was a pretty good Charlton Heston kind of playing a sort of like detective. He's kind of on these sleazy streets of these sleazy streets of kind of this rundown part of like New York in this kind of dystopian future. And he kind of finds that on the streets there's kind of riots that's happening, there's protests happening, but as well as this, he's trying to accomplish this investigation of this murder that happened, and he's going from heaven to road to try and suss out who the killer is. But then he kind of searches for this discovery, and it kind of sort of unravels into this sort of, you know, like, kind of this sort of bewildering sort of scenario that just, again, creates kind of a whirlpool of emotions, and it kind of all blends together, and he's just trying to process this into yeah, he's trying to process all of this at the same time, but yep, he finds that there is something at great threat here that he's taking full recognition of, and he wants to kind of, sort of inform close ones about this, and he wants to kind of, again, at the same time as that, I'm so sorry guys, I can't speak today. At the same time as that, he wants to sort of still solve this case that he's very much got, that he's going on his 2 feet trying to, solve this case. And Soylent Green, pretty decent film, guys. Again, this isn't kind of a film that really blew my mind. Again, there was some kind of slowish, moments here and there, a little bit. It was a little bit kind of too dialogue driven, to the point where that dialogue driven part of the film sometimes came a little bit uninteresting, as much as I do love dialogue driven in movies when it's done right. But this was a too dialogue driven that did become a little bit sort of wavered on, a little bit teetered on. But overall, it is a decent movie. Don't get us wrong, I would watch it again. That ending, you certainly do not forget that ending after watching this film. And there's very much an experimental part of this film that really makes a bigger impression on this premise here as well. So yeah, good, decent acting as well. Charlton Heston is the standout. You've got other good performances in here in this as well. Soylent Green, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 to. Another new release, and this time around I went to the View Cinema in Cramlington to go and see the latest film by Luca Guadagnino, and that is After the Hunt. Now, I have been a bit hot and cold with this director, guys, admittedly. I went back and rewatched A Bigger Splash, and I didn't really like it, if I'm being honest. I even passed on my Blu-ray to Ollie very recently. The remake of Suspiria was one of the most boring, pretentious pieces of drivel I have ever seen in my life, and it just is kind of absolutely pales in comparison to the original, in my opinion. But I know that remake doesn't have its fans, and that's absolutely great. That's the beauty of movies. But also, this director did do Challengers, which I thought was one of my best films of last year. The film Queer, I thought was really good, really interesting. And Luca, which is one of my favourite, probably my favourite Disney Pixar film in the past few years. So, and Call Me By Your Name is pretty good as well. So yeah, there is a couple films I wasn't too hot on from this director, but quite consistent overall, because After the Hunt was really interesting and really good as well. Yeah, I really liked this one. I kind of liked how there was some interesting sort of character work to this one. These close-up shots of these characters when they're having a conversation. It kind of really adds to that emotional punch, if you like. And I just thought the whole, again, this sort of conspiracy sort of theory that was kind of coming in and out of the movie, I found interesting. But you're learning of kind of, there's one character that feels she's been mistreated. The first person in mind to go to is Julia Roberts' character, this professor. She brings forward this kind of unsettling news that's happened, this unsettling sort of position that she's been in. And, it really puts things at unease for a lot of people learning about the ins and outs of this, but learning that there's one character that that they're going to point the finger at, catch out here, and you know, it kind of changes their opinion on a certain character they were once most fond of. And I really kind of just liked that this film had a lot kind of going for it, you know, like I found it quite engaging as well. I thought Julia Roberts gave a stellar leading performance. I absolutely love Julia Roberts. I think she's fantastic in everything she is in. Even if it's a dud movie, she still carries it with her screen presence. But yeah, other great performances as well from Andrew Garfield and the other actors in there as well. And the only thing that did let this film down a little bit for me was that repetitive score, which was very ambiguous and very, you know, sort of loud and a little bit in your face kind of thing. That score I didn't really care too much, and it kind of did take me out of certain scenes of the movie, but for like most of the movie, I was still kind of engaged with what was happening on screen, and it was still kind of an interesting sort of character-driven ride of a movie as well. So After the Hunt, guys, really good soundtrack, actually. I love the soundtrack in this one, and again, a film that clocked in for 2 hours and about 10 minutes. Not once did I think, oh, when are we going to get to this? When are we going to get to A, B, Y to Z? Not really. I thought this was pretty good all on the whole, and one of the best films of the year. Again, Luca Guadagnino is probably one of the best directors working in Hollywood right now, because I really have enjoyed his last 3 movies to my knowledge. So yeah, and I am still yet to see Bones and all, but yeah, this was really good. After the Hunt, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. The latest installment into my Unwatched Shelf series, and I watched Blades of Glory for the first time, which, going back to what I was saying about Good Fortune, really fitting well with that American comedy like phase I went on, and just a good reminder of that. And now I want to go back to a lot of American comedies again, but check out some American comedies for the first time as well. Yeah, this was a really cool first time watch, actually. I know Angelo Napan Films, you know, he's really fond of this film, and yeah, decent film. Will Ferrell and John Heder, both really good in this. I kind of liked the whole rivalry to this, where you see that rivalry can kind of become a bit of an unlikely friendship to this one. I really liked the main coach to this one as well. The main coach gave a really decent supporting role to this, and you know, that really kind of, you know, made a great impression of kind of these 2 main leading characters working as a duo, and there was great kind of, you know, like a supporting role from that main coach there. And yeah, there was some laugh out loud moments in there, guys. And again, I've talked more about this in my latest episode in my Unwatched Shelf series, which I think in this case was episode 5. But yeah, pretty good film. Really liked that whole like stage play scene with the like the costumes and that, and just one really laugh out loud funny moment involving Will Ferrell, who was probably my favourite part of the film. Great to see Pam from The Office US in there, Jenna Fisher, and yeah, a great usage of Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, and you certainly do not want to miss this. This is pretty good, actually. So Blades of Glory, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 there. Then, guys, another new release to talk about, and again, went to Market Pavilion in Blythe to see this one, and it wasn't Chimney Man, it was Roof Man. This was really cool, guys. I really enjoyed this. This director, Derek Chan France is such a cool director, so underrated in my opinion. He's made 2 incredible movies with Place Beyond the Pines and Blue Valentine. I am still yet to check out The Lights Between Oceans, but this is another really good home run in his filmography there. This was just, again, a fascinating film to watch from the get-go. You know, like, I didn't really know too much about this guy who was doing, you know, like, who was going on this sort of like robbing spree, and you know, this is based off a true story, and there was some similar vibes here and there that I did get from Place Beyond the Pines with this, in terms of kind of like the relationship side, but the kind of the family dynamic as well. But yeah, Channing Tatum, really good in the main leading role here, and you know, like, who's hiding out, you know, like, kind of in you know, at the top of the like, kind of you know, who's keeping hidden, you know, like, from view, who's like you know, hiding out and kind of sort of like in Toys R Us to kind of like find a place to stay when it's closing hours and all the staff have you know, like, are gone home and stuff for the night. He is kind of like hiding out and kind of running from the law there, when he got caught out for this robbing spree many moons ago, like at McDonald's there, and he kind of wants to start a new life, go under a new identity, and you know, like, he really has a grown fondness for this community who go to this church, and he feels like his love interest in the film, played by Kirsten Dunst, is kind of, you know, like, getting a little bit of the cold shoulder in regards to like her working hours from her boss. So he kind of tries to stand up to that, but he finds it very difficult at the same time, where he's running away from the law. He is, you know, like, on, like, he's like over on TV, you know, like, he's on the news press, and he's, you know, like, he's doing what he can to sort of keep a straight face and, you know, like, keep himself hidden from view, but keep close by to people that isn't aware of this sort of like this criminal spree that he was previously on. So yeah, and yeah, this did had a little bit of a grainy look to it, but not to the point where it took me out of the movie or anything. You know, as long as the movie tells a good story, that's all I'm bothered about, and this certainly does it here. And yeah, really enjoyed it, and yeah, it was good to kind of see a film set in the 2000s, and yeah, I thought this was really good. So Roofman, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 there. Now guys, second to last one to talk about here in this video, and it is another biopic and another new release. This time around I went with my dad to see this one at Tyneside Cinema. We are both big Bruce Springsteen fans, and this was one of my most anticipated new releases, and that is Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere. I was kind of disappointed with this one, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get us wrong, I don't think it is a bad movie. I do not think it is a bad movie by any means. But I just think, as biopics go, this was a little bit on the average side of the spectrum there. I just thought, I think when the film started, I was kind of like, it's really good. We're kind of focusing on the, you know, the backstory and the flashbacks with Bruce Springsteen as a young child. But then I was thinking we were going to focus on Springsteen as a young adult, on the music scene, and how he became this, you know, like, this wonderful acclaimed artist as he is today, and how he started out in the kickstart of his career. And it's not really a spoiler, but I think, yeah, this film just focused on mainly one part of his career, and I felt that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, because I think I would have personally preferred it if we focused on Springsteen when he started out on the music scene, and then record deal, his first album comes out and onwards. So kind of similar sort of vein to the Bob Dylan biopic, but we mainly focus on the Nebraska era, and that was all well and good. It was an interesting take on a music biopic, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, guys. There were just times in this film where I was looking at my watch. There wasn't much happening. There was just a bit of dull moments here and there, and yeah, I don't know. I think in terms of this first Springsteen biopic, I think if they did something like this in future down the line, and if it was, say, another Bruce Springsteen biopic, maybe I would have appreciated it more. But with this being its first Springsteen biopic, I felt I wanted more, and I wanted kind of a bit more oomph to it. But don't get me wrong, guys, it was not a bad movie. I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I thought there was good, solid performances all round. The main guy who played Springsteen did a good enough job. I liked, again, the sort of the love relationship side, his friendship with his manager, I think played by Jeremy Strong in this film. And yeah, and the main guy who played his agent in there was a pretty good supporting character to this one. And the whole black and white scenes with the flashbacks, I thought, and with Springsteen's music playing in the background, I think really elevated that. That was pretty good kind of cinematography, some good lighting. But then there was just kind of a lot of filler in this movie, in my opinion, which I think, yeah, I don't know. I would return to this one, guys, at some point in the future. Not in a massive hurry, but I think the knowing now, and know now this is a thing where this is a biopic mainly focusing on the Nebraska era of Springsteen's, like career. I think on a second viewing, this is something I will admire more on second viewing. Nebraska is an amazing album, by the way, guys. It's not because of the album Nebraska, by the way, because I love that album. But yeah, I think this is something I'm kind of just sitting on for a little while, and, you know, maybe I'll think about it more in due course, and then I might want to return to this one sooner rather than later for second viewing's sake. But for right now, just all right for me, guys. Always see the Springsteen side of this movie with the music and all that was absolutely great. You know, great, like, kind of like band performances in there as well. Great performances. That was shot really well in this film. So, yep, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10 there. And the last film to talk about in this video for all the non-horror movies I have watched in the month of October. And this was another cinema outing, and at Tyneside Cinema, yet again, I went to go and see Princess Mononoke with my very good friend Mike. Did you see that? This was a second time viewing for me. This was a first time viewing for Mike. And we both really had a great time with this one. This is definitely one of my favourite Studio Ghibli films, guys. I think this is absolutely stunning. This is a beautiful movie, and just the animation style is just gorgeous. That real flair of the film, the colours, you know, the look of the fields and the lakeside, the hills and that, and the forest. It is just all here, and it is all gold in this film as well. It is what Studio Ghibli does best sometimes, and yeah, this is no exception. I really enjoyed the samurai sort of aspects of the movie, but also following this lady that is on this bewildering, you know, extraordinary journey kind of for her love of this forest that she feels that is a great threat here from this tribe, this battlement, and she's wanting to protect these wolves and, you know, like other animals as well. And yeah, this is a really enjoyable film. I liked the whole side plot with the Deer King in there as well, and that the main guy. I thought he was a really good addition to the story as well, and that rivalry with that other princess I thought was a really interesting part of the film as well. You know, like these wolves and these like these boars and these and these other creatures as well, and they are, you know, and they play a really great part into kind of the sort of the adventurous side of this film that it has to offer there. So yeah, Mike really enjoyed this one, and I had a great time with this one too. On second viewing, Princess Mononoke, I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10 there. So guys, that's all the non-horror movies I have watched in the month of October. So yeah, guys, the next edition of this will be part 2 of my October horror watches there, which I hope to bring out sometime next week. And yep, guys, do let me know in the comments, have you seen any of these movies? What's your thoughts on them? Do you have any favourites from this list of films? Is there any of these movies that you plan on checking out at some point in the future? I would love to know all of that good stuff in the comments down below there, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful week so far, guys, and I will be back for episode 6 of the Unwatched Shelf series this coming Sunday, and then part 2 of my October horror watches video, which I'm very much looking forward to delivering on the channel as well. So yep, guys, have a wonderful weekend ahead, and I'll be back for more content soon there. So thanks for watching, cheers for stopping by, and until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye, take care guys, thank you so much.